Hey everyone, Field Strike here with my 6th battle report. Another battle report between Ken Leonhardt's Dark Elves versus my Orc and Goblins. And this time it's 1500 points. As you can see in the picture, there's a river running through the middle of the battlefield. And during that game, Ken decided just to put it through, and it looked nice. And so we incorporated it into the game, using it as dangerous terrain. So that's why the title's as it is, and it just added another dimension to the game that we didn't really use before. We had trees and forests that we kind of used, but this time we never used the river and had to take dangerous terrain tests before, so that was a new element we added to. And if you guys didn't know what a dangerous terrain test is, if a unit passes the river, we have to roll a d6 for each model on the unit. And if he rolls a 1, then we had to take a wound for that unit if we pass through the river. The next few shots are just some shots of Ken Leonhardt's army, individual pieces. This is his Cauldron of Blood, which he's planning to do a jade kind of stone, which I think will look great, and it contrasts quite nicely with the red blood. He threw Killing Bull buffs and Ward Save buffs with this Altar of Cain throughout his units, and it's very supportive kind of model, and good to have in a Dark Elf army. This is Ken Leonhardt's fabulously painted Dreadlord on Cold One, which he equipped with a shield, dragon egg, sea dragon cloak. He had a pendant on this guy, pendant of Caliph. And yeah, it's just really well painted. He finished his Cold One unit also, which matched nicely. If you haven't seen it, it's on his channel. But yeah, I really like what he did with the gold and silver kind of edge around the gold, and the purple tinge in his hair. And also, well, the whole model looks awesome, especially when he's put with his Cold One unit. I have to mention this battle report. The pictures were taken about a couple weeks ago, so I might be rusty on the details, but I'll try my best to explain what happens in the battle report. It's going to be a long battle report, and there's like 60 slides, so with extras in there, so let's get moving. This is just a shot of the generals. My Black Orc War Boss versus his Dreadlord on Cold One. Just thought it'd be cool to take the picture of the generals with the Altar of Cain in the background. If you remember last game, it was titled Free the Goblins, and he won that battle. And he took the Goblins and sacrificed them to Cain. So I guess in this battle report, the fluff is that the Orcs want revenge for the battle, so that's why they're fighting, and they're meeting near a river for some reason. You might notice my Black Orc War Boss is not painted up yet. After my Project Orc and Goblins, I didn't really have time to paint all the models and everything, or I just kind of was tired from painting, which happens when you're painting massive models in Warhammer World. So yeah, I just had to. This is one of the last models I got, so I just was lazy. But I did paint it up last week, so in future battle reports you'll see him in his new gold color scheme. Bronze/silver color scheme. This is another shot of the field. In this game, Ken asked me if I wanted pictures from his perspective. I said, yeah, that would be great. And yeah, there's quite a few slides from his perspective, and it just adds another dimension. So you'll be seeing two sides of the boards this time. So on my turn, as you can see, there's a spider rider unit on the bottom right. I lost one of the spiders to the river. He just fell in the river and drowned. So if you're wondering why there's only 4 there when I usually pack 5, then yeah, that's why. So I have 2 spider rider units, keep in mind. 5 strong each, one unit diminished of course, and they have a musician in there. A quick run through my lines. I have 33 Night Goblins with a Fanatic Netters, 22 Orc Boys with additional hand weapons full command, and my Black Orc War Boss is in that unit with his 4+ ward save, 2+ armor save build. My BSB, Goblin BSB, he has a Biting Blade and a 4+ armor save because he has heavy armor and a shield, and 5+ ward save, Armor of Fortune. I have a Shaman in front of the house there that you can't see right now, but you'll see later. He's level 2 Dispel Scrolls. He had the Edbutt and Signature Spell. He's a Mork. There's a giant, 20 goblins who are avenging their brothers, hopefully, which they don't in this game. Well, you'll see. Another level 2 shaman next to that barn there on the right. He has a feedback scroll, and yeah, he had the Foot of Gork spell and the Eerie Ghost spell, which is a buff spell. So after he moves a little bit, after he moves Cold One, my turn, I move my Spider Riders, as you can see, just to maybe charge flank of something or get in the way. Move my Night Goblins up and Orcs about a bit, and there's my other Shaman who moved up a bit. Because his spells are 46 range, so I basically wanted to get closer to his line so I can cast those spells. My 4 Spider Riders on the right, I think they got magicked on his turn, so that's why he's there. I move my Giant and Goblins up like so, thinking I'm going to get a charge on his Corsairs, and yeah, that's how they're aiming. This is a shot from his perspective, looking all ready for battle each side. On his turn, he decides to move his Cold One Dreadlord in front of my Spider Riders. I'm okay with that as long as he's not gunning for my other lines or my other units. And since my Night Goblin 4 Spiders are fast cavalry, they can dance around him. His Hydra moves up, and this is a roll for his spells. He rolls for his signature spell, or this first spell, I forgot what it's called, but it like does 2d6 strength 4 damage or something like that. So he rolls the 4 plus his wizard level, and then I roll 3 ones to try to dispel. So that's the first failed spell roll from the game. Luckily for me, he only does like 4 wounds, which I'll take. The Fanatic's not dead, he just tipped over, so I'll take it. On my turn, you might notice there's 5 Corsair spawns. That's because I did a Foot of Gork on my turn and did some damage on him. I also did a wound on his Sorcerer. I think that was through the feedback scroll, or maybe I did Headbutt spell. I don't remember. But yeah, I did do a wound on him, so I'll take that. Just a note, his Corsair unit has a Frenzy Banner. in full command, so he's immune to psychology, so throughout the whole game he's fine after taking so many wounds. I dance around his Dreadlord just because I want to, because I don't want to face his Dreadlord. And the last picture you may have noticed, you may have not, I released my Fanatic, and I rolled a 7, so just an inch away from his Hydra. I was thinking, yeah, the reason why I wanted my Night Goblins against his Hydra is because of the Fanatic. And then the last game, he did 2 wounds on his Hydra, and I was thinking maybe I could do some wounds to his Hydra before I bog him down in close combat or something like that, or try magicking him. This shot here is just a random, I just like the texture of the house, so you can just ignore the slide. This here is a shot of my Fanatic being destroyed. Well, he's not there anymore. He was 1 inch away, as I said, and he flame templated me, and he killed another 2 Night Goblins, I believe. And after magic and spells, this is what happens to my Night Goblin unit. They are totally obliterated, but they stick. They love it. They have a BSB and Orcs, my inspiring presence of my Black Orc War Boss, so they're fine. They stick. He moves his Dreadlord again in front of my Spider Riders, and that's great for me. Nothing else to show here. Moves his Cauldron up a bit. This here is what it looks like from his perspective, and you might notice my Goblins are gone, and that's because they were charged by my his Corsairs. He took some dangerous terrain wounds from that, as I see now. 3 wounds, I believe, and maybe I magicked him again, but I don't remember. So he ran the Goblins down, and I moved my Giant back in the previous turn, just thinking, yeah, he's probably gonna charge. So I did that so I could get I could counter charge next turn. I moved my Orcs back so they don't get overrun by the Hydra like last game and be destroyed. That's the thing with Hydra. If you have a character who isn't equipped to kill Hydras and stuff like that, then you're better off putting the gen or the character in another unit that's not facing Hydra, because the Hydra does wounds to the unit and they break, even though the character might be immune to psychology. He's kind of bound by the unit, and they'll run. I just had a previous game with using my dwarves, and I moved my Lord character into my Quarreler unit, and he charged it with the Hydra, and he killed the unit and ran down my guy. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's how the battlefield looks like right now. There's another shot of the field I thought was pretty nice. He did a hilltop kind of shot, and just getting another view of the field perspective. And on my turn, after he did combat with Corsairs, I believe, I moved a bit, and then I charged with my Giant. But in the magic phase, I did a Foot of Gork spell, and I did the souped up version. And basically, the souped up version, which has a higher casting value, all souped up versions of the spells have higher casting value, most of them, allows you to do the foot spell again, and you have to roll a d6 to see what the result of the next foot stomp is, and I get a roll a 1, which means that he gets to decide, your opponent gets to decide where the foot lands, and he put it on this unit. Killed 3 or 4 which isn't too bad. But it was right on my general, so it could have been risky. So luckily that it didn't do as much damage as it could have. That's the combat between my giant and his Corsair unit. I charge him. His assassins pops out, and his master turns to face kind of like that. My Spider Riders move to the rear of his Sorcerer, level 4. And I think he miscast earlier and lost a power level. I can't recall at the moment. But he as previously, he got a wound. And this is the result of the battle. My giant dies right away, and what happens was his assassin pop out. He has these 2 blades. The Venom Sword. He has a Venom Sword. That's what it's called. And he jumps on my giant and stabs him in the neck. And basically what the Venom Sword does, if you take an unsaved wound from the assassin, you have to take a strength or toughness test. And on your strength, on your characteristic, and I fail it, and all the wounds are gone from my giant. And luckily this time, last game, my giant died to this same Corsair unit, same assassin, I think. Or this Corsairs finished him off. And he fell backwards onto a house and didn't hit the unit. But this time, luckily for me, he fell on the unit and crushed 5 or 6 Corsairs. So he didn't pay for his points at all. But he was able to crush some of his guys, so at least you did something. I think it was a pretty epic moment for Ken Leonhardt. The assassin was MVP for taking out his the giant. Like the assassin's 171 points, so it was pretty good for his points. But yeah, another disappointed thing for the giant. I have to charge him into a Hydra next time, so I believe maybe that would be better. Just another shot of what he's doing. He decides to ignore the forest spot. I think this is still my turn. I just took another picture of his side of the board. He decides to, just a note, he decides to ignore the forest Spider Riders with his Dreadlord now. Switch. Is this another slide of the same slide? Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. This cauldron moves on the top. I think this is a pretty epic scene, if you can imagine in your head. Dark skies and the witch elves on the bridge taunting the orcs, hollering, gesturing, giving ward saves or killing blow to his units. The Hydra, the Night Goblins are gone. I think he either ran them down or beat them in combat. I think he ran them down. Definitely I fled. And my flee rolls for this game are horrible. He always catches me. And in the last game he caught me too. So he just walked into the river. And that wound, he has 4 more wounds. He has 5 wounds. He starts with 5 wounds. I think that was from magic. This here is just the Corsairs turning around after they defeated the giant. And my giant rolls out. Giants are fun, I believe, but it's just my luck for the last 2 games and my matchups. Next time, if I ever bring my giant out, I'll face his Hydra instead or something. I think he'll last longer. My level 2 shaman on the right with the Here We Go and Foot of Gork spell did an irresistible force spell on his Foot of Gork on one of the turns, and he gained a wound with the template miscast. So that's why he has a wound there. He's fine though. His level's still level 2, so that's good. Just the overhead shot of what's pretty much left. I have this orc unit, my other shaman, of course, in the previous video, and the shaman in my BSB. Just a blurry picture. Sorry about that. I moved my BSB and shaman out of the way of the Corsairs and out of the range of the Hydra. His cold one moved up earlier next to that. I moved my orc shaman level 2 on this side a bit closer so I can try to get the buff spell on my orcs. And this is what the ensuing battle looks like. I turned my orcs to face his Corsairs and get out of the sight of his Hydra, because his Hydra I know will just tear me to shreds. This here is his side, another shot of his side of view. I'm thinking now maybe I should just charge my Black Orc War Boss into the Hydra, because I know the orcs can withstand his damage from his unit, but you know, next time. As he's moving his Hydra, oh, forgot to mention my 4 Spider Riders charge his Sorcerer. That's what it looks like. Another shot. The dice, the black dice, there's the turn indicator, turn 5. So during the battle with his Corsairs, he issues a challenge. I accept with my champion, and of course he dies. And that's the damage happened on both sides. He usually takes his Dark Elves right away, so I think I did 3 or 4 wounds on him. And he does 2, 4, 6, 7 wounds on me, which looks from that perspective. You might notice my Black Orc War Boss is moved there in the back. That's because he refuses the challenge next turn, or my turn, or whatever. I move my BSB in front of his Hydra so he doesn't charge the flank just yet. And my Goblin Shaman level 2 is faced like that so he can get his line spells off, which he doesn't get off either turn, so it doesn't really matter. And another round of combat, I kill all his Corsairs and do a wound on his Assassin and his Master, which I thought was great because my Black Orc War Boss can't attack because he's refusing his challenges. I was just scared of his Venom Blade. Even though I have a 4+ ward save and 2+ armor save, I'm still not. I didn't want to risk it. Even though I think the Math Hammer would say that it was better if I faced his Assassin. So that's just another shot of his Hydra getting ready to charge my Goblin BS. And that's what happens, and it's unbelievable. My Goblin BSB held, and I was thinking, yeah, he's just gonna go in there and kill my Goblin outright with his 2 wounds. But he does 1 wound and I hold, which is amazing. I of course don't do any wounds to him. I only have a strength 4. He's toughness 5. But I'm happy with this result, and it just means another turn of him not charging into my orcs. It gives me some hope. You might notice his Dreadnought and Colons in the river. I'll tell you what happens in the next slide. And that's what happens. And this is a stupidity test. Since he's a cold one, he's riding on a cold one, and cold ones are stupid. He rolled for his stupidity test and got double 6s. So he moved from his side of the river to the river, splashes around. I was just joking with Ken Leonhardt. Yeah, the cold one enjoyed the river so much, so that's why he just derped in the river. And you know what? He rolled another 2 6s. It was unbelievable for him, and I felt sorry for him. he rolled another 6s and moved out of the river. So it was good for me for that orc combat, so he didn't get into that. Because he was tooled up with like a lot of stuff, I believe. And his lance, of course, because he didn't have a lance, but failing twice for stupidity. So he walked into the river and then walked over. So that was good for me. You might notice, I don't know if I think he miscast, or maybe I think my spider did a wound on him. But he's down to 1 wound. But after doing that 1 wound, after the first turn of combat, we just had pillow fights for the next couple turns between these two guys. So at least it got him held up. Yeah, at least my spider riders held the sorcerer up. As to be expected, he did another wound on my goblin BSB on the next turn combat phase, and he dies. But I consider the BSB to be for me, the MVP of my team, because he held him up for 1 turn. And I kill his assassin on this turn, and I think that's the end of the game. Turn 6. And if there was a turn 7, he would have charged his Hydra, and I would have been done for, I believe. Or maybe I would just challenge with my... Can you challenge a monster? I don't remember. I didn't get an Eerie Go spell off on my orc unit, so yeah, it was a closer battle than the last couple of games. I really need to tweak my list, maybe bring a flaming weapon so I can face the Hydra, maybe put my giant against the Hydra, or put my Black Orc War Boss single against the Hydra. I don't know. The next battle report, or the next game I did was yesterday, and I used my dwarves and I got slaughtered again, even though, yeah, I just made some mistakes. So, let's see the next slide, hold on. Yeah, in this game, it was a funny game, it was a close game, interesting. I think I had fun. I did. First, we're getting to know the game more and getting to get the feel of the game. But we still are rusty on some rules. And I think I need to fine-tune my list and understand my magic more. Maybe get some goblins, shamans, and try the spells out. This is just another shot of another spell I did earlier on in the game. I tried to Foot of Gork, his Dreadlord, and he saved it. I did 1 wound. It's D3 wounds, and he saved it. So nothing too exciting. I just wanted to show this picture of me putting my paper foot on his Dreadlord. So I decided after the battle to take some pictures of the battle happening next table to us. There's 2 tables, and they were using this one, another fantasy battle, so I thought it was great to just snap some pictures of forces other than our own that you haven't seen. And yeah, Skaven versus a fellow orc and goblin player. I don't know who won the battle, but I do know the orcs were doing pretty good when we left. These are 2 okay painted armies. There's some great models and some not so great because they're older and painted in the past. There's a shot of a very characterful model, the Snotling Punk Wagon, and he had his orc boar chariot. I don't know if they were in the game previously and just got eliminated. I know he had a unit of trolls, which was a mix of chaos trolls and regular trolls. And looks like he had some spiders too. This here's a very buff looking rat ogre. He's flexing his muscles. But there's also like a very disgustingly painted pimple on him that looks like a pimple or a boil. And I think he did a good job in painting that because that looks so realistic. Here's a short of the orc's horde. versus a horde of rats, and when you have horde formation, you still have 10 models, which I tried with my dwarves, but there's only 40 of them, so I have to expand it to 10 by 4 to get a horde formation. But anyways, these orcs, there's a mix of old and new models, which I thought was cool. And the orc war boss with the banner there on the board is an older model. They still sell it, I think, but it's one of the older models. Yeah, he defeats these 2 units. That's what I remember. And the axes that the orcs have full of rat blood. This is just this mangler sweat. I think this is the last slide of this battle report, kind of slash pictures of another battle happening. Yeah, thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this battle report. I don't know if I'll put on my dwarf versus dark elves. I lost that game. I'm on a losing streak, and it's not great. I want to win. So maybe next time, but when I fine tune my list or something. So here's a rat ogre in front there. This guy had a converted rat ogre, which I thought was cool. You can see on the picture there, and that's a cool mangler. Maybe I should purchase a mangler squig. Maybe it'll be better. Do more damage instead of my giant who's not doing anything. But the only thing wrong with the mangler squig is kind of random also, because this random movement. So anyways, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.